Welcome. And here we are at, I guess, our final episode of our spooky season, Facing Fears October of Mind Brain movies. I'm your Sherpa into the Mind Brain Hope, and Elizabeth here, aka Dr. Gremlin, is probably finally so happy that this month of torture is over for her. And she's probably jumping for joy, like, yes, no more, no more.
Yes. But then I was talking to someone who was like, "Oh, I do this kind of something." And then I was like, "Ooh, we could do a collab." And that will kind of require me to watch a scary movie. So I'm like, maybe it's not so scary. As long as it, but no, but he prefers things with ghosts and spirits and stuff. And that's scarier. And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want to do that.
That's what I keep telling everyone. I'm like, that was my stipulation. I couldn't pick any movie that had ghosts or spirits or anything like that. And I'm like, and every single person I've told that, they're like, but those are the best ones. I'm like, I know, but it's what I had to do.
Baby steps. Okay.
Okay, no, I've been very proud of you so far for doing this at all. So I am very happy and very proud. Eventually, when I get out there, I'll force you to watch it with me, and then you can just like hide into me when the parts happen.
I think it's just at night when I'm like, what if there's ghosts? That's the scarier part of
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'll
yeah.
be there with you visiting, and then you can you'll be like a little kid, like, "Oh, can I come into bed with you? The spooky man's in the room."
We're just gonna have to do like a massive um what you call it um sleepover.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I won't be scared.
We'll
Um
make a big pillow blanket fort in the middle, and just like
yes, that would be great. Or or not. Or we could just simply not do any of this. That also works.
I mean, I'm kind of still down for the pillow blanket fort, but anyways, the final movie that have watched for today is Midsommar. Um, I've been a huge fan of this movie since it came out. It's such a good film. It's not your typical horror whatsoever, which is kind of what I love about it. And this is actually one that you wanted to watch, like you picked that you wanted to really dive into.
Well, it's because yes.
That's so descriptive. Thank you for that lovely
It,
review.
it's because I I think ever since like I saw the trailers for it, I was like, oh, that sounds or that looks like a really good story. But at the
Mhm.
same time, I'm like, yeah, but it also looks like really scary, and I kind of don't want to watch it. So like I had it, in the back of my mind for like this whole time, and I was like, one day maybe. And then it did happen, and I agree with you. It is a really good story.
Mhm.
um I kind of thought or had theory that the main girl was going to stay there, because she was very much needing someone to be there for her and
Like a
support her.
community or something, someone, yeah.
Not like that, but yes. I just thought, okay, yeah, everyone's gonna leave, and then they didn't. And oh my gosh, bro, they did the whole eagle spread thing on that guy, and he was still breathing. Like his lungs were still inflating and stuff.
So, people, I would like to do a quick breakdown
Oh yeah.
of everything. I was getting a play-by-play, folks.
Oh,
So before we go into the review, before we go into what she felt, I'm going to give you just a quick little play-by-play that I was getting while she was watching this. So, um, okay. So I may not want to go visit Sweden now, but I do want a flower crown. The flowers are moving. She has to eat a fish? Gross. Bro, drugs are scary. Never trying shrooms. Don't go to strange places, Hope. I forbid it. Um, let's see. There's also the how the fuck she learned to speak Swedish. They just gave him Viagra. Bruh, is he supposed to have sex with all of them? Or just the one girl? This is creepy. Aren't the flowers itchy and uncomfortable? This is so weird. Do not trust nobody, man. They are all out to get me. And yeah, so that was just some of the play-by-plays.
And that was just like at the end. I think I was like typing all of this and I forgot to like speak to the camera because I was also like filming my reaction to this. So like there were some parts where I was just like, oh my gosh, and I was just like typing, and I kind of forgot to react. But okay, listen, let's just start from the beginning, okay? Um,
Okay.
oh my gosh, like the sister killed herself and her parents and left her by
Yeah.
herself. Like that was so bad. And the boyfriend was planning on breaking up with her and was a horrible boyfriend. Like he was so totally manipulating her because he said like, I'm sorry, and then she said like, well, like you don't have to apologize, like I was just want to talk about it. And then he said like, I'm trying to apologize, and she said like, no you're not. You're just saying stuff. And I'm like,
So
yeah,
lot
that's not a true apology.
that's that is the first, so the first like third of the movie, I should say, was definitely like a lot of mental health heavy, because not only did it deal with the sister taking her own life, but her parents, because the sister was too afraid to, I guess, go by herself. And it was pretty like ghastly, the fact that she chose carbon monoxide poisoning, basically,
Mhm.
like out of all the ways. um and the fact that you have to be very dark and deep and not seeking any help whatsoever to go to that point is really extreme. So it's like, yes, go talk to your therapist. First off, that's my first big thing. Go talk to a therapist. You know what? Go talk to Mark Davis. He's been in other previous episodes with us. He is really great on depression and suicidal ideations, everything. Um, yeah, but the other part of like the mental health aspect is like everything is such a morality story of like what to avoid in a relationship, on either side. you know yes, he was manipulative and everything, but she also was too scared to be without a person as well, to break up with him, even though she kept saying like, oh well, he's doing this and this, so it was kind of like a toxicity on both sides. And it's like, if she had enough confidence in herself to break up with him, but he also was just a dick and using her, it's
At first I thought it was like just this like, oh maybe he just if he feels bad for her or whatever, and doesn't know how to like break up, or maybe he does love her, but it's just too much with dealing with her whole family thing and like her own mental health and stuff. And I'm like, that I understand. But then when they got to Sweden and then he was like, yo bro, I'm gonna do my thesis on the same thing you're doing it, and yeah. And I'm like, bro, well, first of all I was like, okay, like what's the big deal if he does the same thing? It's like the other guy was doing it slightly different, but still that's kind of like a really bad move. Like your friend was doing this the whole, it's like he didn't know, like he was just kind of like cruising through life doing whatever he wanted, and part of it was like him acting as like the victim in certain things.
right. And
And
the whole thing with the thesis, like, yeah, okay, if it would be one thing if this entire time both of them had the idea, you know but what he is, I keep wanting to call him Cheaty because that's what I know him from The Good Place. uh but but Cheaty, um he like he said, he's like, I spent my entire college career on this thesis, and this is now just like a hobby for you. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
thesis should be something that you're super passionate about, something and it was just it should be something that you've been developing this whole time, and so that was like a dick move. I will give him that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree too. Just because it was like really interesting, like once he got there, he saw like, oh, this is actually like it could be good. Like I can see how it could revolutionize, the what is it? Not archaeology. What's the other one? Anthropology field, because
Anthropology, yeah.
yeah, because like things like that, these are like still happening and stuff. Um, eh, he just like he was so sus the whole time, and I don't like him.
Yeah.
And part of me at the end was like, bro, you had it coming. Yeah, I mean, am I sad? No. Would I want him to go that way? No.
Yeah.
But he did. So
Although the whole birthday thing too, which pissed me off. So you know that Pele was probably the one who gave him the cake and stuff, and like reminded him of her birthday. But my thing is what his excuse for like forgetting. He was like, "Oh, you think I forgot, huh?" Well, and then he goes on to say, "Well, I thought it was yesterday."
but he
I'm
didn't even
like,
say it yesterday either.
that's what I'm saying. I was like, so you thought it was yesterday, but didn't say anything, and then pushed it off to like what? How? What kind of like? If anything, he should have been like, "Oh, I thought it was tomorrow," and
Right.
then that would have been like, "Oh, I was like waiting, but I thought it was tomorrow." That would have been instead of, "I thought it was already happened." Like, what? What excuse is that?
Yeah, he was just the worst. And then okay. So the way that Pele like approached, I totally forgot her name. Like I just keep thinking her as Florence because that's her real name, or
Let's call her
him.
Flo. It's fine.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, at least he was kind of being like, hey, like he's not such a great guy as you think. And he was the only one making conversation. Like all the other friends made it so awkward. And I was like, I blame the other friend, the wait, I forgot, I don't even know what, Christian, whatever his name is. He he just made
So
it so
Christian was the
awkward.
boyfriend. Danny is Flo. Danny's
Uh
Florence Pugh.
yeah, yeah.
Um.
No, yeah, like it was the boyfriend, because he was like, first he didn't tell her he was going, and then he
Mm-hmm.
invited her to like clean up his own, you know,
Mess.
fuck up, yeah. And and then he forced his friends to like deal with her on the trip. It was so weird. He's like, I invited her and she accepted, but she's not going. And I'm like, what do you mean she's not going? Like
That was so confusing. I was like, what kind of mind games are you playing, sir?
none. Like clearly he thought he was like one of those like smart people, but no, bro. No. And then
It's
I
like,
was
yeah,
like,
she has the ticket. She spent like 6 grand on this, but she's not going. What?
yeah, yeah. It was just so bad. Um and I was like, okay, so I like the way that Pele was kind of like, oh well, happy birthday. And like he was being like really sweet um with her, which was good. But also like like on hindsight now, I'm like, oh, but he was like trying to manipulate her the whole time, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then how he was like, my parents died in the fight, and like at the end I finally got it. I was like, oh my gosh, his parents were sacrificed. That's
Mhm.
why he had no parents.
Yeah.
But he did like he asked her one question that I think it's a really good question that we should ask all of ourselves, all of
Which
us
question?
ourselves. He said, do you feel embraced by him? And
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and I think it was his way of asking, like, do you feel like like he loves you, like he cares for you, like he is
Mhm.
your home, right? And she thought about it, and then she realized it was no, because he was a freaking creep. Um, and but I think it's a good. So one of the things that I went off on my rant is like at the beginning it took a lot longer because I was just pausing it every time he spoke, because I was just like, bro, shut your face. Okay, like
Shut
just
your face.
don't even talk right now, just go in the breakup with her, it's gonna be better for everyone involved. Anyway, so then uh I went off on this rant about how, like, when you're in a relationship or if you're thinking about starting a relationship with someone, I think it's really good for you to have some sort of like guideline as to what kind of relationship you want, so you have that clear. Because I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, they're attractive, I like hanging out with them, all right, I'm just gonna start dating them. And I'm like, that's nice, but you also kind of have to be aware of what you want and need in a relationship, because otherwise that's why so many like problems happen with partners, because there's no communication. There's the, well, I don't know what you want me to do, because neither of them like know what they want in a relationship, or how they want the other one to act, or they have sort of like this expectation, very unrealistic expectations, which we see like from the movies, right? Which is like, Prince Charming comes and does everything that's right, and he's just like your perfect significant other who totally understands you and does all the right things, right? And then we kind of have this idea, well, if you love me, you will do all these things for me. And I'm like, no, I can love you and be like, hey, this is a hard boundary for me, like I don't want to cross it,
Yeah.
and you're just manipulating me, or like, this isn't a good
Right.
relationship. Yeah. So that would be sort of like my advice to anyone who is
Which,
thinking of
by the
it.
way,
Mm.
if you go to our husbando episode, we go more into amazing things of what you should look for in relationships and green flags and possibly red flags. And yeah,
And if you were
but
wondering, this Christian fellow, or whatever his name was, total red flag all over the place. Okay,
not
don't.
husbandal material.
No, 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 no. Do not. No.
uh, but yeah, so even though so you mentioned that, like, yes, Pele was manipulating her and everything, but I also feel like it was definitely a genuine concern because he thought that she would be good for the community. Because if you see, like, everyone truly does care for each other in the community. So it was like, yes, manipulation, but I like, is there such a thing as like good manipulation? I don't know. Like, because
Yes.
he got her away from Christian, but and he brought her to a community. Is the and yes, the community is definitely
Sus.
eccentric, but I mean, the one thing I'll give that community is like they do actually care about each other, you know.
I called it when the old people were climbing up the mountain. I knew it because I
They
I had
did
what.
the swan dive.
Yeah, I was like, wait, are they? And then, bro, okay, whoever did the special effects for when the lady hit the rock, like, my hat's off to you. But I did not really want to see that. I did. I also did not need to see it. Like, you did not need to show it, bro. The old man. I feel like, how many times did he needed to get whacked? Like, that was just so bad because he was still alive when he like jumped, and then
No,
they
that
were like, okay, let me just pull you out of your misery, and they hit him like 4 times in that head. His head was so smushed. That was really bad.
no, honestly, like, yeah, I'm gonna sound like it's gonna sound weird, but yes, his head got smushed, but at least he was dead after the first smush, you know. And but could you imagine, like, you could my the horror part for me is, could you imagine being ready to give yourself, because their whole thing is like giving them back to the community and recycling themselves, like, oh, with his death gives birth to new life, whatever their philosophy is,
Hmm.
just but being ready to die. jumping from the mountain, knowing, okay, I'm gonna die and give myself back, and then falling and just breaking your leg, smashing your leg open. It's like, that's the horror for me, is not dying initially and then being in agonizing pain from your leg being like, like,
No, bro, and you know, like the two people that they sacrificed, um, in the thing, they were like, "Oh, this is so you don't feel any pain," and I'm like, "BS!" He started screaming. He
I
felt the
know.
pain, and I was like, maybe you could have just like, you know, a quick that would have been
Just
better.
snap their neck. Or it's like they had
All
so
the
many
other
other
ones
cool.
were already dead.
Well, and then I was gonna say too, like, just like you mentioned, how do they have so many powders? Like they could have just like poof, like, powdered them or
Right,
something.
dude, for reals. Uh, okay, and then I finally got it because they were like, okay, once you reach a certain age, you have to go out there and find other people that will like, bring sacrifices to the
Hmm.
community. And I guess whoever brings bad people for the community that end up as sacrifices get sacrificed themselves. That's why the brother got sacrificed, right?
No, he volunteered.
Um, well, I don't really care. It was just it was creepy.
No,
But
he was one of the volunteers. So because it's like a high honor to volunteer, I guess.
you know, one of the things I didn't understand, the lady at the beginning was like, "Oh, every 90 years or something," and I'm like, "I thought you did this every year. Like, what do you mean every 90 years? What are you talking about? Like the
I,
solstice
I'm
or the moon or the summer or
I'm
whatever?"
guessing it was the certain ceremony or cycle or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
maybe, yeah. Because then I was like, "Oh, because what's his face said it." And oh, you know, the other thing I wanted to talk about too is
Everything.
the I just keep getting distracted by all the horrible stuff that happened, okay? Jeez. Like, okay, so um the what is it? Florence. I forgot her name again. Danny?
Danny.
She was clearly still not doing okay, you know?
Oh yeah. No, she
Um
was still depressed. I think, imagine your entire family. You've lost them. 6 months is not gonna. You're not gonna be all better in 6 months. Like, no,
but she kind of expected that of herself. And that
because
reminded
she was manipulated into thinking that.
well, but here's I think here's the point that I wanted to bring up is like it wasn't just her. I think it's all of us. Like in real life, there
Yeah.
are sort of like in some way led to believe that time will heal all wounds and you're not supposed to grieve people after a certain amount of time has passed. And I'm like, no, the grief stays with you throughout your life. It just kind of changes every now and then, um and I just felt really bad for her because she tried to keep it together, right? Like the whole time. And she kept going off on herself. Stupid ass boyfriend would just be like, "All right, you feel better," and I'm like, "Bro." Anyway,
Well, but that makes me think of like what you just said. It just now really made me think. I think of our bereavement system, like here, like even at my job, like I've had like a grandparent die, and they're like, "Oh, we'll give you 1 day of bereavement, and if you need any extra days, you have to take PTO." And it's like, okay, and then it's like, well, if you have a brother, sister, like mother, dad, or something, then you get like 5 days. I'm like, that really is bullshit. Like bereavement shouldn't, like,
well, it's because
it takes
that's
longer than a day or 3 days or 4 days. Like it, and I'm just thinking like, so if I need more, I have to use my own time because a tragedy happened to my family. And it's
mhm.
just like this fucked up, like, I know it's like because we're in a capitalist society and shit, but like, but damn, like, because I was thinking like I've had deaths in my family and I've had to use my bereavement. They're like, oh well, you have a day, and I'm like, bro, that's just travel. Like that's literally just travel time. I don't need. That's not enough for like anything else I have to do. Like what the
Mhm.
fuck?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of like the problem because just yesterday I was giving a presentation on grief and we were talking about it, and one of the things that I just kept repeating whenever I would get asked question is like, hey, listen, if we had a safe space and time and like a bunch of money so everybody could do all the other things that we are responsible for in the time that we are taking to like grieve and reflect on life and like take care of ourselves essentially, um we would be okay in probably like maybe a week or two. But we're not. We're still responsible for feeding ourselves, like going to work, taking care of kiddos. If you're a parent, taking care of the rest of the family member, and it's usually this thing where like there's also this idea of strength of like, oh, you're super strong if you don't cry, and I'm like,
Yeah, that's bullshit.
no, no. And a lot of people have to like sort of like suppress any sort of emotion that they might experience because they just need to keep going, right? And it's not until like 5-10 years down the road and they're like, you know what, I just never got a chance to grieve any of this. um yeah, it's just it really does suck, and I just feel like really bad for her. And ultimately at the end I was kind of happy for her actually,
Yeah.
because she kind of did find a community. And I pretty much every you know podcast that I do or anything, or video or thing, I always talk about like we need a supportive community. And I still stand by that, but not this kind of community, okay? Not like that. No, not like that. Like it's just a community that's there for you when you need them, and is willing to
A
listen to you, but
a
not that
non-murdery, suicide
cult. Yeah, not
community.
like that. Yeah. Yeah, and you know how we were talking about how everything is so expensive, and we like the three of us, including Boone, should just like move together to a community. I was like, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't. I was like, what if we become like them and then like start doing these weird rituals? Like, no, no. I think maybe
But
neighbors,
then
we
you
can
were
be
afraid. Then
neighbors.
you were afraid, and you're like, okay, no, it's fine as long as I make the rules.
But you're not gonna let me, are you?
I would vet the rules.
What's he? No, 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 no. I want to make all the rules, like vet the rules. Then you had all the power. I want to have all the power. I,
Oh,
no, I want to make the rules
look, I would
and be
have.
like,
I would have.
no scary movies ever
Yeah, no, that
in
ain't
my
happening
presence.
because.
In my presence, we
Okay,
can
I
do
was
whatever
about
we
to say because
want.
if you ban me from that, we're gonna have issues. We're gonna have a fight to the death over that. We're gonna have like freaking. We're gonna have like Klingon style like execution deaths with batliths and
Well, see, there
whatnot,
you
and like
go. We're not even living together, and we're already planning some sort of like, like a gladiator sort of like
look.
fight to the death.
That's if you take the horror movies away from me. Okay, I will accept not in your presence, but you can't take it away from me.
No, the other thing too, I was wondering this whole thing because you saw there was like the one British couple and then the Americans, right?
Hmm.
And this is so dark. But I was like, yo, bro, Pele popped off because he brought a bunch of sacrifices. Like, that's why he had a crown at the end. Anyway,
He,
but back to not being
he
dark.
was he was like employee of the month, like
And that's why his brother got sacrificed because they weren't worth the sacrifice. You know what I mean?
it's
uh,
instead of like not getting a promotion, you just get sacrificed.
yeah, because I was like, listen, Pele bought that one guy that made a baby, and then in my head I was like, well, what happens if she's not pregnant? You know what I mean? That could happen.
I don't know.
I was just at that question, and then the other, does she maybe she gets sacrificed next year?
You didn't make a baby. You're done.
Yeah, because I mean that already got sacrificed. Um, Wait. No, what was my point? Oh, jeez, I forgot now. Wait, what was I saying before? Um, oh, no, I
Sacri-
forgot now. Now I just think about how Pele was such a good employee.
Such a You get not only you get a flower crown, but you get a pizza party too.
Oh wait, oh yeah, yeah. The you had the British couple and then you had like the Americans, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then the British couple was the only one that was like actively being like, "Don't jump, bro! Like this is so messed up. Why are you allowing this?" Right? And the Americans were just kind of like, "Yeah, that happened," and I was like, not even a like of shock. They were just kind of like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm fine. It's just part of their community and stuff." And I'm like, okay, first of all, that boyfriend, again, psycho, right? His reaction, total psycho. The other American, the one that peed on the sacred tree, I was so mad at him. I was like, listen,
Yeah.
this is one of the things or one of the reasons why a lot of people when they travel outside of the US, they usually, if they are from a different country or like their families from a different country, they say, oh, like for example, if I were to travel abroad, I would just say, hey, I'm from Mexico. I wouldn't say I'm from the US because US tourists have such a bad reputation
I was gonna say it's
because of
such a
guys like
negative
that.
connotation. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was just kind of, because he was so like, I didn't know it was secretary, and I was like, bro, find a freaking bathroom, like,
That was my thing. I'm like, dude, we're not heathens. There are restrooms. You probably could have walked like 50 feet to one.
yeah, I know. He's like, I just need to go pee, and I'm like, then find a freaking bathroom. I was just so mad at him, and
Use
I was
the
like,
beer cup you were drinking out of something. Goddamn.
right, like I was like, and then I was like, wait, how did you not know that was a sacred tree? Like, didn't you see people were like around it, like doing something with it? Like, you can't just ugh. Yeah, so I was like really upset at him. And again, I was like, would I have want him to go that way? No. Do I mind that he went that way? No. Also, well, I guess I was just thinking about like, okay, so for the British couple, at first I was like, I kind of understand why they would get sacrificed because they were like ready to leave and like so scandalized, right?
hmm
And
And they, I guess, were like, oh, we can't let this get out of the community.
yeah, yeah. And but for the Americans, uh well, Well, I mean, he did pee on the tree, so I guess that was enough reason to sacrifice him. I thought they were gonna like open his like and rip his guts out. The boyfriend, when they because
Yeah.
when the guy was like, listen, you don't want to like exploit the
Oh,
guts. You
yeah.
should do this cut, and all the kids were like, okay.
Not so they could harvest the good bear meat for food.
Wait, wait. But back to my point. Like, how would you have reacted in a situation like that?
So I do kind of want to do like a breakdown. So yes, the British couple, they were freaking out. Okay. With Danny,
As they
she
should.
she just went into total shock. So like you could see it on her face.
Hmm,
She
hmm.
was in total shock because even afterwards she's like, how did this happen? Why I don't feel comfortable. Why did it, like she was
Well, we
she
kind
kind
of
of
got her perspective, right? Or was she like she couldn't really hear anything? It was just kind of like
like I
background
said,
noise for her.
she went into total
Yeah,
shock, you know.
yeah.
So the fact that she didn't like shriek or yell or anything, like I get it because she literally went into shock. When you go into shock, you cannot do anything. Um, with Cheaty, again, I'm just gonna keep calling him Cheaty. I don't care. Uh,
I don't even know his name, so it's fine.
I know, but I love The Good Place, which I would love to do an episode about The Good
Oh,
Place, by the
bro,
way.
same, same. It was
Um,
so good.
oh, so good. But anyway, the last episode I bawled my eyes out. Um,
Yeah.
but with Cheaty, so he kind of already had an idea. So like it's easier to go into a situation if you know. And I think he knew, but he wasn't fully prepared because like he was like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna happen. It's actually happening. You actually do this," and then like it happened. He was like, "Oh shit, they're actually doing this." So like he was also like kind of shocked too, but he tried to take it as like a anthropological stance because
Mm-hmm.
this is what he was writing his paper on. But like he still was taken aback. Now Christian was a psycho because he's like, do it again. Like it was like,
He basically was. He was just kind
yeah,
of like, oh yeah, this is interesting, and then he was just like dismissing it, and he said like, oh yeah, tell me everything about like the inbreeding and stuff in here. Like, how did you? Okay, and then I'm like, bro, okay. So I thought out like in my reaction video, I was like, um, I would like to talk to an anthropologist and be like, how did you like? Is that something you get taught in school? Like, how did you react to things like that? Because again, so part of it was like, I understand that this is sort of like their cultural beliefs and stuff like that, right? And then we are going in there to like essentially like study them, or that's what Chidi was doing, right?
yeah,
Um, to
yeah. I
sort of
got you to say cheaty.
and I'm like, okay, so I kind of understand his perspective of why he didn't say anything, but he looked a bit more like shocked than
Right.
everyone else, except Florence. She doesn't really count because we're talking about like, she was just wanting to shock. Um,
Yeah.
no, and then that one guy, like the one that peed on the tree, I don't know the guy's name. I don't really care, but
But he was like, I can't believe I missed that.
yeah, I was like, are you serious, bro? Are you
Mark. His
serious,
name is
bro?
Mark.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, am I upset how he went? Not really.
No.
Yeah, but it was just yeah. I mean, again, I kind of want to talk to like an anthropologist and be like, okay, so what do you do in these situations? Like, eh, because I imagine the anthropologists have sort of like this dual perspective of like, they have their own personal values, but they're also there to sort of like just like not explore, visit it, study the community and the culture and the ways.
So I'm gonna go real nerd real quick.
Mm-hmm.
This makes me think of like Star Trek whenever they have like their rule, like, oh, if they're not ready for first contact, you can't like intervene type of deal, or like we're here to explore, not judge, but then like they're always like the controversial episodes are like, well, we don't believe in that, so we're gonna fix this, and it's like, so it's like,
Yeah, I mean, part of me is like, okay, I think it really depended on like the type of uh belief or what they were doing, because sometimes they're like, oh well, we believe that if we do this it prevents like, illness or something, and then I would be like, what prevents illness? Not that. Here's
this
something else.
medicine, like,
Yeah, right. Right, but like in this one, like just because at the end when like the British people were like the couple, they were like leaving, they were
hmm
like, man, I am so glad I was a loner and didn't really make any new friends when I was in college. Now just thinking back, I was like, that could have been me, man. Could have just gone off to like some random place with some random friends.
you did study abroad though.
Yeah, that doesn't count though.
That's
Oh wait, one time I did do it by myself. The other time I did it with a close friend, so that was fine. Yeah, but yeah, but see, listen, all my friends were like born and raised in the U.S. Okay, so that's okay, I guess.
okay, sure, yeah.
Well, I was gonna be like, none of them invited me to like go visit their country, and I was like, that's a lie. One of them did. That's why we went to Hong Kong. Um,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because you went to
that's a yeah, that's a lie. Anyway, point being, I am glad I didn't make any weird friends when I was in college. Uh, yeah, like I would just want to know like how this gets sort of like treated. Oh, because that one there's an island, I think off the coast of Indonesia, I think. Or one of the islands in Indonesia where there is this one tribe that has not seen the modern world. Essentially, they has been
The,
in their island for like forever.
there are a couple of places. I know there's like some indigenous tribes of like Papua New Guinea. There's some in the Amazon. There's, certain like tribes and everything that are very like not they're not modernized. They're not with the modern world or whatever.
No, but some of them have had connection because I think now that you mentioned, let me see if I can.
I mean, some
Um,
have had like contact, but they haven't like updated. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Because some of them I seen pictures of some of them like handling cameras and stuff because they had so many people that go and visit them and like study their culture
mhm,
and stuff like that, that they learn how to use like technology. They don't
mhm,
themselves have it, but they know how to use it, right? So I'm
right,
not talking about that there was like that this one particular tribe is like
mhm,
um not in contact with people at all, and if somebody does try to make contact, just get off.
like KOS.
Oh, but you know the one thing that I did like, I liked when but what was the cute Swedish guy again that was
Pele?
manipulating everyone? Pelle, yeah. He the way he explained like the different seasons, I really liked that.
Oh, like how you grow and like the first is spring and then like summer is like your youth or adulthood and the like yeah.
Yeah, I really liked that. I just didn't like the fact that they have end dates
Right.
for certain
It's
things
like
that
what happens when you're 73? No.
you're not 73. Who knows
Right.
what happens? um I'm like, if I lived in a commune like that, I would understand why people would just be like, um, no, no, I'm actually younger than you
Oh
say.
no, they wrote my
Yeah,
birth date
that's
down
wrong.
wrong. It's
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
actually
actually I'm actually 19 right now. I'm still a kid. Um,
that well actually that makes me think of there's this one like an early Futurama episode where Professor Farnsworth like apparently when you get to like 160 you the robot like death squad comes and takes you to like a Matrix retirement home or whatever. And so like he was lying about his age so um he wouldn't be taken by like the robots to the Matrix retirement home thing.
hmm
And so that's what makes me think of like yeah, I'd be lying about my age too.
that'll be me. Or I just not come back when I go off in my whatever it's called. It's the whole exploring
There's
the world.
summertime.
Yeah, there's summertime. It will be forever summertime for me. I'm like, I'm just not coming back,
It's summertime in my heart. Just like how people are like, "Oh, I'm a kid at heart." I'm like, "It's summertime in my heart."
bro. Well, I guess it's up to like each person to sort of like bring back, because there was a lot of when they just like stop that one metal like to
Hmm.
get high or whatever. um there was like a lot of other people from that community that didn't really bring like foreigners. It was just the
Yeah.
two siblings or whatever that brought foreigners. I wonder if they're all in contact with each other and be like, "Hey, you got anybody who's willing to come and be sacrificed?"
Right.
Uh, or not, or like, "Oh, how many you got?" Like, I got two. We need at least four more. Like, I don't know.
Right. I don't know. But again, that's neither here nor there. So I want to know you like. So now that we've talked like mental health ish, like I want to know your visceral reactions to like what's something that really like frightened you in this movie or like really got to you like on the horror level though,
I
other
was
than the 50 updates on the messages it got.
Well, I think because I was thinking back and I'm like, there is something, because this movie is similar to the one we watched last week, Us.
Us, yeah.
Yeah, in where it's like very sort of like lots of unknown, very thriller, and like there's a lot of deaths, But I think I just wasn't really I didn't really connect with any of the characters that like full on died.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really see it as that bad. And plus there were like some jokes thrown here and there that kind of sort of like made it a little bit better, right? But in this one it was so always like so intense. And in the in Us it was kind of like when the weird family came and then they found out that there's families everywhere. That was just sort of the it, right? And then it was
Mm-hmm.
sort of like the climax after that. But for this one, it just sort of kept the suspense and stuff, and the weird shit that kept happening just kept
Just
going
kept
up and up
going.
and up. And then it stayed up there because she stayed and everybody else died. Right? So it was like I think that's kind of like what got me, because it just kept getting like weirder and weirder. And there were
Right.
some times like um that kind of like made me like giggle a little bit, like when I was like, dude, they have so many powders, or like, why be
Oh yeah.
making like this weird things, like some of things like that, like it kind of got me. But the whole time I was just like, why is it like, I was just sus, everybody was so sus to me. I was like, just like, you're being too nice, like, are you actually being nice? Like, I couldn't really tell. And I think it was that kept me more on edge in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
This whole like there was more of an element of unknown, because I didn't know who to trust. Because in the movie Us, I trusted the family, right?
Right.
Even though technically she was actually the shadow, not the real person. um I was already sort of like attached to her, like, like she was presented as like, the one person.
Right.
And so it just sort of like I made a connection with her, not the other one, so I didn't really care what
Mm-hmm.
happened to the other one. So but in this one it was like I made a connection, but then there were like so many people in white walking around and being really sus and I was like, I just can't trust anything.
Um,
Yeah.
so a perfect, not to say that I'm gonna make you watch this movie, but um a perfect like double feature, like a pairing for this movie would be if you were to watch the original like 1970s version of The Wicker Man. Well, first off, Sir Christopher Lee is in it, and Sir Christopher Lee is amazing. I love that man, so amazing. R.I.P. dude, but um because it also deals with like a community like this and like sus and traditions, and like it's a good pairing of these type of like folk horror.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
if you're
Or
ever morbidly
not.
curious, if you're
If you want
ever
some
morbidly
pictures now, and I'm
curious, you
like,
could.
not. Because if it wasn't for all the gaslighting that was happening in this commune, and all the death and sacrifices that were
All
happening,
the death.
it would have been like a really cool thing, and then they just started killing people for no reason. So, you know
See, our commune would be like that, but without the sacrificing, without the death parts.
as far as
Like I
I
would.
know, what if you have like a secret garden out there, like when the foot
No,
of like
Booney's in charge of the
Jesus.
gardens.
Oh
Remember,
yeah,
Booney's in
that's
charge of
true.
gardens.
Can we trust Booney not to like?
I was about to say the only green thumb I have is for weeds. Like I can grow.
I I think I'm pretty sure I can even make weeds die. Like I appreciate them.
Okay,
I
they
would
come to
love
my
to see them in
backyard so
garden.
they can kill my backyard. Then please, it's overrun.
Yeah, no, that's huh. Yeah. But again, so one of the things that a lot of people would probably say and be like, well, why would they be these people are like all sus and doing all these crazy things, why didn't they just like run away? And I'm like, well, for the same reason that Florence stayed, because
Hmm.
she really needed the support, and she was shown this is
Yeah,
a place where we can do it. And because at the end
exactly.
when she was crowned, like the girl that was kind of like guiding her through it all was like, we're sisters now, you're part of the family. And there was just like little seeds that they were like, I mean, they were totally manipulating her, which is bad. But um She
But
never
like I
really
said
had.
before, it was like a good manipulation. It sounds so weird to say, but it's like yes, they like manipulated her into the community, but she would be taken care of. So it's a weird like
Well, it was a happy ending for her, not for everyone
right.
else.
But that's what I'm saying. It just with her character in particular, like
Hmm.
it was like a good manipulation because it was like it's kind of like I guess it would be like if you were in a cult and someone manipulated you into opening your eyes to see away from the cult. You know what I'm saying? Um so you could like wake up. And I guess like it was kind of like that for her, but it was like join us because we will care about you, you know? I don't know. It's a tricky subject. She ended up being loved at least. Not
Well, and now my question is like, okay, so because she was easily influenced, that's why she was allowed to remain and everybody else got sacrificed? Or was it a something that was like a little bit different, you know?
Well, I feel
Um
like she was the only one who showed any respect as well. Like in the beginning, she learned like a little bit of the Swedish, like and she like replied back like thank you in Swedish, you know.
mhm.
She was very curious about their culture but didn't like overstep boundaries. When they were doing stuff, she's like, "Oh, well, let me help," instead of just like fucking off and getting drunk, you know. So like I feel like she was the most respectful of them all too.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's my
So
biggest thing.
so if you were to accidentally step into one of these communities, how long would you last there before you booked it off?
Ah, see that's my biggest thing. I'm like, well, my first question would be, so this started out as a vacation for me. Am I allowed to go home and get my dogs? Because I need my dogs,
You'd be like, I'll be happy staying there as long as they let me keep my dogs.
right? I need my dogs. Those are my kids, man. I need my kids.
Yeah, but what
Yeah,
about all the weird things that were happening?
I just want my dogs, man.
Now in my head, I was like, you know how? Because I watched when I was in college, and was it just before? I think it was just before I studied abroad the first, not just after I studied abroad the first time. That's when that movie came out. Taken
Oh,
came out.
taken.
Yeah, and then so when we came back, no, when I came back, and then we had already gone to Hong Kong. We came back, and then I think the second one came out, and I watched it with my friends. And then I was thinking about that, and I was like, oh no, I don't know what I was thinking. It just made me think of that one. Like, oh no, yeah. The British couple, I was like, did they have family that's not looking for them, or do they not have any family that's like looking for them? Because like Florence, again, like her whole family died, so presumably she has like really no one left. But what about like Chidi and like the other Americans? Like, do they have family now? Like, how do they? Well, I guess nobody knows who they went with, and if what's his face never returns, you know?
Well, that's the thing and I think that's part of the reason their community is so off the grid. Because the last known like check-in would be them getting to the airport in
Yeah.
Sweden, and then they're like, oh, it's like another 4 or 5 hour drive, and only the people who brought them know. And then also when they went to like that meadow, then there was like another hike from that meadow to
To the
their
place.
community.
Yeah.
So like they're deep. So even if someone was looking for them, the unless they like the only thing they would get would be like CCTV footage from like the car that took them. Otherwise, like done. And they could totally just play that off as like, oh well, I'm an Uber driver in Sweden, done. Like
Yeah, I mean, and even the Swedish friend could just never leave the commune again, and
exactly.
or get sacrificed at the next yearly
Right.
summer festival, and then nobody knows. Yeah, dang. Man,
It's a good little system there.
I wonder if it's still possible for you to be like completely off the grid these days, like so like nobody could find you.
I mean, technically, in like a community like that, if they birth everyone on site, they don't have like public record at hospital or anything like that, then yeah.
But then, how did the Swedish guy travel outside?
Have you never heard of like fake passports and shit? Or for all we
Listen,
know, he
I
was.
am a law-abiding citizen. Okay, I would never even think about breaking the law. No, bro, they be killing off people, and then that one guy was like, "Oh, no, we obey our traffic rules," and I'm like, "Oh, now you're obeying traffic rules?" I'm like, "Yeah, because he was dead."
I mean, yeah, hey, sacrifice is one thing, but reckless driving is another.
Um,
That's where the line is drawn.
eh, I mean, wait, if it was like the summer solstice, wait, what is the summer solstice? Is that like actual summer? Because I'm like, they had too many flowers for it to be, you know, I don't know. And I'm just nitpicking now.
I don't know. You're thinking too far, and just like before, you're thinking too much into the certain things of the film now.
So wait, hold on. You might not know this, but I'm just gonna ask anyway. Um, in Sweden, they have like one of those like really long days, or is it like the whole like for a few weeks the summer doesn't set?
I'm not sure if it's in Sweden. I know there are some countries. I know Norway is one of them, but I think Norway's a bit more north than Sweden. I think. Don't quote me. Um, um, I think it just depends because there are certain like, just like how in certain parts of the world as well, there's like endless night for a certain amount of time, and same thing with like endless day. Um, I'm not sure of the exact coordinates though of like where.
Oh, here it is. So it says in the far north, the sun does not set at all in June, and there is darkness around the clock in January.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying there. So I know it's like I don't know I don't know where specifically. I know it's multiple countries, but I don't know like which ones and like I don't know if it's like certain parts of or I don't know.
I don't think I'll be able to live like that, bro.
I already do. I work night shift, so I just get blackout curtains.
Oh yeah. No, I mean no, like the whole not having sun. That's the part that will bother me. The sunlight, I don't think so much. It will
Again,
limit
I work
my.
night shift. I just
But you don't even sleep, so you do get access to the sun.
yeah, for the 5 minutes that I take my dogs out to go pee, and then I'm like, oh, the light, and then I run back inside in my little cave.
All right. Well, I mean, that's all my thoughts. I just have questions as to like, hey, so what if in this other circumstance, right? Um, but I mean, it is one of those movies that I'm just gonna be like, whoa, like thinking about it, but
Yeah.
not flat out scary. We're like, I won't be able to sleep at night.
And again,
But
we've been doing a lot more of like the psychological horrors than like spiritual ghosty horrors. So
yeah, those would be more scary. I feel like.
maybe next year I can convince you to do those
Well, I
kinds
mean,
of
I did
films.
say if anybody wishes to donate a significant amount to my nonprofit, I will watch these movies. So,
All right, so next paycheck.
um, maybe I need to start adding zeros to that number now and be like, nah. Anything less than 10,000, I don't watch.
All right, I'd like to take a loan out. I'd like to take a loan out, please.
No, I'm gonna be like, all right, for $1,000, I watch like a psychological horror. For like 10,000, I watch something that kind of is about spirits, but not really. For like 50,000, I watch one with ghosts. That's gonna be my tier list of like what I'll be
That's a
willing to
high
watch.
ass tier list.
That's too bad. Oh no.
I give you $5.
I will take them and not do anything. I would take them and watch a Scooby Doo movie. That's what I would
There
do.
you go. Or just like watch Courage the Cowardly Dog with me.
Oh,
Like,
there you go. No, yeah. No, I was watching that, or we were gonna watch that, my brother and I, but um what was it? Oh, the Airbnb we were at had Roku, but you needed to like log in to something,
oh
and we
yeah.
couldn't log in, so we ended up not watching it. But yeah, $5 and I'll watch Courage the Cowardly Dog with you guys.
I think one of the voice actors for that is going to be at the convention I'm going to.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I need to look. But anywho, uh, so again, thank you, Liz, for indulging me in this month of facing sort of fears of horror. I know it was a lot, but you made it. You survived. How do you feel about surviving your own horror film?
Well, I think now I have. I'm glad I ended up doing it because now I have more of an understanding of what is really scary to me and what will be just be like thinkers, right? Because like
Hmm.
movies like Us, they were not necessarily. I think it was when there was like this very unexpected thing that happened. Because if I remember thinking back to like Piggy, like that also got me like, whoa, bro, like no, because there were like so many things where I was like, that's just so gross, and I was like freaked out by that, or maybe more grossed out. Um,
Hmm.
but these movies, I think I'm relatively okay with.
Cool. Well,
Maybe
that's good.
maybe later we'll do maybe
All right,
uh
horror community, we're finally turning her. We're finally turning her. Yes. Oh, but yeah,
yeah.
so we made it. We survived. Obviously, I'm in horror attire. I love horror films. I'm super excited that you did this. I really am. Like, you know, I am truly proud that you did this. But also, like, I am glad, like, to finally indoctrinate you into the horror community. Uh,
A little bit, yeah. But
just
again, it's just,
dipping your toes, you know.
yeah, it's because the stories. If the story is really good, I think that's what I'm like. Oh wow, like I didn't see that coming, or like that's like a different thing, different perspective. That I really enjoy. Um, Scary ghosty things, no, 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 enjoy either. No. Although I will also like to know the stories of those, but I will stick to just watching like a summary on YouTube or something.
Gosh.
Oh no, wait, what's the other thing I wanted to say? Um, uh, oh, if you haven't had a chance to check out the panels that we did, the horror movie panels and mental health, they're actually in my YouTube channel and Psychology for Geeks. So check those out.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll have a
and
link in the description of all of Liz's horror panels. I know I was a part of some. It was really
wonderful.
good. Really good stuff.
You were my emotional support person for those horror panels because I was like,
Yeah.
you guys will off talk about things, and I'm like, yes. I'm like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but
Well, there would even be times where I was like, all right, Liz, I already did introductions. I've taken care of everything. You're like, cool. I'm going to sit here.
but now I'm even more curious to do more of those panels and like have like different types of people come in, or because we did two panels with like different people. The two of us were the same, but I wonder if we sort of like blend
Like
everyone
swap some of the
together.
people from each
Yeah,
panel.
or like
Yeah.
bring new
Yeah,
people in. Might be interesting just to get again. It's the I just want to know like different perspectives and stuff with this. That would be cool to see.
for sure. And if you have any other suggestions for horror videos that you want to see, or like any
Not ghosty ones.
psychological ones that you would like to see, drop it in the comments below.
Mhm.
Um, I love talking about these things. I know Liz is now
Oh,
starting to get an affinity.
especially if they have like a cultural component to it, that would be
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
A
from a
lot of
different
folk
culture.
horror is really good. Like I said, Wicker Man would be another one, like similar to Midsommar, but it's from the '70s, so it's not as like scary or intense. Um,
Yeah.
but it's still really good. Um, Also, like I said, thank you for watching. Be sure to check out our merch store. We have our merch available. We have our Mind Brain movies, our Dr. Gremlin, our Octa Cutie Boonie. You know, we have a bunch of good merch there, and part of the proceeds do go to Elizabeth's nonprofit to help, expand mental health into sort of the into the communities that don't really have as many resources. So we're trying to expand the resources into these communities. So any little donation helps. And yeah, thank you for watching. Watch
Yes,
other
but hold,
videos.
hold on. I need to make a clarification real fast that it was we are trying to make create safe communities, but not like the ones in this movie. Not like that at all. No. There is no we celebrate the same
Asterisk.
thing, we're in the same
No
thing.
sweet,
There's no
no
sacrifices to
Swedish sacrifice
anybody.
community.
Yeah, no, it's not like that, okay? It's and and if you fear for your life and you're like, maybe I shouldn't, just check out our Discord or like our online stuff. That's relatively safe, right? That's
Relatively safe.
no no sacrifices there. Nobody luring you anywhere in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I do live in the middle of nowhere, but not that wasn't my doing.
Not making a good point, Liz.
Okay, okay, just end it. Just end the video now.
And
Just cut this. Just cut it.
thank you for letting us be your Sherpa into the mind brain, and have a good night.
Bye.